This questions the quality of the National Intelligence Network. We have the DSS, we have the Defense Intelligence, we have the National Intelligence Agency. So we can't have all these apparatus well-funded, sometimes with allegation of slush funds, and not knowing something as easy as something as plain, something as stark as this kind of attacks. At least we should be able to trace where the weapons are coming from. We should be able to trace where these people are coming from. How do you see the response of the federal government to this?
As far as I am concerned, you can notice the preponderance of these kind of activities of bandits and militant herdsmen, and this has overwhelmed the entire spectrum of the country. And I believe part of what is making this seem very, very difficult is that these bandits don't go through the normal routes, don't go through areas where security operatives are stationed and keeping vigil to ensure the movement of people in and out of one place or another. Most of these activities happen in the hinterland, in the obscure areas where these bandits, I'm sure, are taking advantage of the absence of the security operatives to go through those forests and hinterland to make the attacks. And to be fair to the Nigerian security operatives, they cannot man every tree, every bush, every hinterland. Take, for instance, police. We have not more than 400,000 policemen. And if you look at the landscape of this country and the size of the land, how much can such security operatives man the land such that they will be able to pick on people who are going through certain forest or bush routes to other places? So these are the challenges.
Taking some comparative analysis could help us now. People are alleging that the way the federal government's response to the IPOB movement, because to call it a crisis now might be subjective. So we can say the IPOB movement, people are alleging that the federal government has deployed a iron fist, while when it comes to the issue of the herdsmen crisis, it has deployed a kid glove, and just like borrowing a leaf from the former president's letter, said he has looked the other way when it comes to dealing with the herdsmen crisis. Do you share that same of thought? What's your view on the approach the federal government has deployed so far in tackling the herdsmen crisis?
As far as I'm concerned, I think I'm not qualified to assess or maybe give a pass mark or failure mark on the operations and activities or efficacy or efficiency of the security operatives. And in any case, being not someone within the security cycle, I may not have any inkling into the justification or reason or motive behind different approaches to deal with different security challenges.
Does that suggest a kind of inconsistency on the part of the federal government?
No, I would not want to call that
a more decisive and firm approach. The federal government has even gone to proscribe IPOB, even against some quarters in the international community. Why is the federal government not taking similar steps, perhaps proscribing these attackers?
Like I said, every security situation has a peculiar looks, and it all depends on the security operatives to determine what kind of solution, what kind of approach should be meted to the kind of security challenge that manifests. Take, for instance, the herdsmen farmers. This is more of a civil disorder. And if you want to equate it with the situation of the iPod, where people want to tamper with the sovereignty of this country, I think you will know the reason why the security operatives decide to have different peculiar approach to peculiar problems.
You've had security meetings at the highest level of governance, and with these unabated killings across the north central states, Nasarawa, Benue, and Taraba, is there an end in sight looking at the security strategies so far? Do you see an end in sight?
I see
an end in sight to these killings?
Yes. What has happened recently, or what is happening, is a repercussion of the anti-grazing law, especially with me in Nasarawa State. I wouldn't want to say anything about Taraba or any other state. What is happening in Nasarawa in particular is a repercussion, is the fallout of the implementation of the anti-grazing law in Benue. In Nasarawa State, we have not enacted that law, but being the neighbor that share contiguous boundary with Benue State, whatever challenges that faces Benue State is likely going to rub on us positively or negatively.
You have a strong conviction that what has elicited the rapid killings by the suspected herdsmen is from the anti-grazing bill, and you will not touch that with a long spoon. But we've seen killings within your border. We've seen killings in Nasarawa State, and there is no anti-grazing bill in Nasarawa State. So what is responsible for this?
What happened is there are two types of killings. You never know which one to take. There are speculations that the herdsmen that are running away from Benue on their way to Nasarawa visit vengeance on some of the thieves within the boundary, either in Benue or in Nasarawa State. Secondly, there is also speculation that certain militants from Benue with very sophisticated weapons were milling into Nasarawa and also perpetrating killings. So these are two things that are really true in the past 1 or 2 weeks. But with the deployment of military operatives, this has begun to subside.
Okay. Now, is this a religious agenda, as widely speculated?
No, I think for anybody to trump up that and sum it as a religious agenda is being unfair and does not mean well for this country. Whoever is a careful observer of the activities of herdsmen and farmers over the years, you know that it does not discriminate against religion or even tribe. Going by the speculation that the herdsmen, most of them are Fulanis, you find that this kind of crisis is happening in Zamfara. It happened in Katsina. It happened in Kaduna. It happened in Niger. Just like it is happening in Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, Plateau, and all the rest. So for anybody to sum this as a religious agenda is, to say the least, speculative and unfortunate.